It was just tough to breathe, and I knew that that wasn't normal and wasn't right.
March 18th, 2020. It had been a week since Thomas Carpenter was sent home from the hospital with severe flu-like symptoms. Now he was gasping for air. His wife Angela called a telehealth doctor.
The doctor on the phone said, "I'm calling the ER. I'm telling them that you're coming, so go now."
By then, the World Health Organization had declared COVID-19 a global pandemic, and visitors were no longer allowed in hospitals. After dropping Thomas off, Angela watched helplessly as he walked into the ER alone.
And I tried to reassure her, and I'm gonna be fine. You know, you just let them take care of me.
I just remember on the way home, bawling my little eyes out. I just let it all out before the Lord. When I walked back into the apartment, the Lord said, "Angela, what was the word that I gave you this morning?" And I was like, "Yeah, Lord, you gave me the word hope." I remember saying out loud, "Lord, you did not give me that word hope for my husband to die." And I held on to that.
Doctors told Thomas his oxygen level was dangerously low, and they were admitting him to the critical care unit. Thomas called Angela, urging her to get people praying.
I was on mission to fulfill what he asked me to do and to get everybody praying. I am hanging on to that hope that the Lord had spoke to me that morning.
And my thoughts were just, Lord, you got this.
The 55-year-old was put in a medically induced coma and on a ventilator. Over the coming weeks, as his condition continued to deteriorate, Thomas would be one step away from becoming another COVID-19 statistic.
The doctor would call, and say, "It's just touch and go. We're just gonna have to wait and see."
By April, reports of the rapidly growing number of COVID deaths dominated the headlines. Angela did what she could to be near her husband.
I would drive to the hospital and I would sit in the parking lot and look at the building and just say, "Lord, my husband is somewhere in that building and you're with him." Our two daughters and their husbands left their homes just to come and be with me while Thomas was in a coma. It was kind of like calling the family in because Thomas could pass away.
Dr. Brent Bergen, a pulmonary critical care physician, explains.
When we were putting people on ventilators or life support, we were having them say goodbye to their family because back then, very few were coming off the ventilator.
As missionaries, the couple knew people all over the world who were now praying. Meanwhile, still in a coma and clinging to life, Thomas says something extraordinary happened. He remembers going to heaven. God was by his side, giving him peace. Then he saw his son Buck, who had died after a car accident when he was just 8 years old.
When I saw him, he was laying right there in the crook of my arm, and I looked down there and I saw him grinning so big, and I said, "Son, you gotta tell me, what were you feeling?" He said, "Dad, what are you feeling now?" And I said, "Man, this is just so much peace. I can't even describe it." And he said, "Dad, that's exactly what I felt because you're exactly where I was."
He also heard the multitudes of people praying for him.
It sounded like I was in a large football stadium and somebody just scored a touchdown. It was so loud.
He says then, one person's voice rose above the countless others.
And I heard my wife say, "Lord, would you heal my wonderful husband, Thomas? I need him." And it was right then that I opened my eyes.
It was late evening, Easter Sunday. Angela got the call the next day.
I talked to the nurses on that Monday morning, and they said that they were just in total shock.
In fact, they were calling him the Miracle Man.
It's the day after Easter, but it feels like Christmas.
It's an amazing feeling. God is concerned about even the least of us, and it's just such a blessing.
Dr. Bergen agrees it was divine intervention that allowed Thomas to beat the odds.
What we do is supportive. We allowed God to take care of him and restore him.
After several weeks of rehab, hard work, and prayer, Thomas went home 2 months after going into the hospital. He and Angela are thankful for the healing power of prayer.
He was in his coma for 33 days. We actually found out later, after the fact, after he had been in the coma and everything, that he had a 3% chance of making it. He's just a walking miracle, and we're so thankful for that.
For everyone that prayed for me, know that I'm here as a result of your prayers.